tubular carcinoma. This tumor type constitutes 5% of the invasive carcinoma. It is associated with limited metastatic potential and excellent prognosis. Grossly, they form a speculated mass. There is wide age distribution, which is second to 80th decade, but usually seen in the 4th decade. It presents as a palpable breast mass. It shows skin changes if superficially located. Gross appearances: most lesions are less than 2 cm in diameter. It has a firm stellate and sclerotic appearance. Gross appearances of tubular carcinoma of breast, which shows a grayish-white mass in the center with stellate appearance. Microscopic features: these tumors are characterized by a haphazard arrangement of angulated tubules having tapering ends and open lumens. These tubules are lined by a single layer of epithelial cells that often display eosinophilic to amphiphilic cytoplasm with apical snouts. The nuclei are oval and show only mild to moderate nuclear pleomorphism. The mitotic activity is rare. A cellular fibroelastic stoma is the characteristic feature. The absence of myoepithelial layer is a helpful feature in distinguishing this tumor from benign sclerosing lesions of the breast like sclerosis adenosus, radial scar, and complex sclerosing lesions. Pure tubular carcinoma must show virtually 100% tubular architecture. The ductal carcinoma in situ is an associated finding in up to 40% of cases, and 10% are associated with lobular carcinoma in situ. There are tumors which have mixed forms like tubulo-lobular type or ductal carcinoma with tubular feature. Rarely perineural, vascular or lymphatic invasion is seen. It is associated with microcalcification in more than 50% of cases. Immunohistochemistry: EMA usually positive, SMA negative, showing lack of myoepithelial cells, S100 protein negative, again showing lack of myoepithelial cells. Estrogen and progesterone receptors are expressed in more than 90% of these tumors. The spread is limited to the low axillary lymph node. Axillary lymph node is not associated with the same adverse outcome as in invasive ductal carcinoma, not otherwise specified tumors. This photograph shows microscopic features of tubular carcinoma of breast, showing angulated tubules which are marked with AT and cellular stroma which is surrounding them. Another photograph showing microscopic features of invasive tubular carcinoma of breast, in which there is large number of angulated tubules which are present in the dense cellular stroma. Mucinous carcinoma, also known as colloid carcinoma. This tumor constitutes 1 to 6% of all the invasive breast carcinomas. It presents as a discrete mass. Older women are more commonly affected. The mammogram shows a well-defined tumor. This tumor is associated with a favorable prognosis. Gross appearances: the tumor is well circumscribed and lobulated with a soft gelatinous consistency and has a glistening cut surface. This photograph shows the gross appearance of mucinous carcinoma of breast. The typical glistening gelatinous appearance with pushing margins and a soft consistency can be appreciated. Microscopic features: there are clusters of infiltrating tumor cells surrounded by layers of extracellular mucin. The extracellular mucin must make up greater than 50% of the tumor. The tumor has alveolar, cribriform, or papillary configuration or infiltrate as diffuse sheets of cells. The gland formation is not seen. The intraductal carcinoma often involves the peripheral duct. Nuclear grade characteristically is low to intermediate. Immunohistochemistry: cytokeratin 7 positive, cytokeratin 20 negative, PS positive for intracellular mucin, ER and PR. These tumors are positive in more than 90% of cases and negative for HER2/neu overexpression. Neuroendocrine differentiation may also be seen in some cases. Now, the most important thing is that mucinous carcinoma must be differentiated from other mucin-producing lesions of the breast. Mucocele-like lesions are characterized by mucin-filled benign ducts and cysts that may rupture and result in extravasation of mucin into the surrounding stroma. Occasionally, the ducts show proliferative changes and portion of ductal epithelium may become detached and float within the pool of mucin. However, the linear configuration of epithelial cells and presence of myoepithelial cells favor a diagnosis of mucocele-like lesion. This photograph shows microscopic features of mucinous carcinoma. It's a low power view and you can appreciate lot of cells present in the pools of mucin. This is the photograph which shows microscopic features of mucinous carcinoma of breast. Extracellular mucin marked with red in the photograph shows lakes of mucin in which neoplastic cells are floating. Another photograph showing microscopic features of mucinous carcinoma of breast. Irregular sheets of tumor cells marked with cells in yellow color and surrounded by pools of extracellular mucin marked with mucin in red color. Another photograph showing microscopic features of mucinous carcinoma of the breast. There are irregular clusters of cells which are marked with cells in yellow color on the photograph, surrounded by mucin which is marked with red color in the photograph. The mucin is extracellular. Medullary carcinoma. Now, definition: it is a well circumscribed carcinoma composed of poorly differentiated cells arranged in large sheets with no glandular structure, scanty stroma, and prominent lymphocytic infiltrate. This tumor comprises of 3 to 5% of all mammary carcinomas. The age distribution is almost as that of infiltrating ductal carcinoma. However, there are some reports which suggest that the females of 35 years may also suffer from this neoplasm. There is a strong association between medullary carcinoma and with carcinomas with medullary features with familial mutation in the BRCA1 DNA repair gene. It presents with a palpable mass. On mammogram, the tumor appears as a well-circumscribed mass without calcification. It has a relatively better prognosis than infiltrating ductal carcinoma. Patients have decreased likelihood of axillary lymph node metastasis. Gross appearances: it is a firm, discrete mass measuring 2 to 3 centimeters in size. They appear as a non-invasive tumors that are well circumscribed and often show distant capsule. They are faintly nodular, soft, tan brown, or grey tumor with a bulging cut surface. Hemorrhage, necrosis, or cystic change may be present. This is a photograph showing gross appearances of medullary carcinoma of breast. There is a grayish-white tumor which is marked with letter T in the photograph, and foci of hemorrhages are marked with letter H. Another photograph showing gross appearances of medullary carcinoma. You can appreciate that the tumor is grayish-white in color, which is bulging and marked with letter B. There is cyst formation which is marked with letter C on the photograph, and areas of hemorrhages which is marked with letter H. Microscopic features. These tumors are characterized by a syncytial growth pattern seen in more than 75% of the tumor. There are pleomorphic cells with high nuclear grade and numerous mitoses. The tumor must show an intense lymphoplasmacytic response around the tumor cells. There is no invasion into the surrounding adipose tissue. The tumor has well-defined margins with pushing borders. The tumor cells have highly pleomorphic nuclei, that is, grade 2 or grade 3 nuclei containing one or several nucleoli. No glandular or ductal structures are present. Classically, there are 5 morphological traits to characterize medullary carcinoma. The syncytial architecture should be observed in over 75% of tumor mass. The glandular or tubular structures are absent and should not be seen. Even a minor component. Presence of diffuse plasmalymphocytic stromal infiltrate is a conspicuous feature. The tumor cells are usually round with abundant cytoplasm and vesicular nuclei containing one or several nucleoli. The complete histological circumscription of the tumor can best be seen under low power magnification. This is the photograph showing microscopic features of medullary carcinoma. The tumor cells are forming syncytial architecture which are labeled as SA. They have a pushing borders marked with PB, and there is lymphoplasmacytic infiltrate which is marked with LPI on the photograph. You can appreciate all these features in this photograph. Another photograph showing microscopic features of medullary carcinoma, in which the tumor is forming syncytial mass, and that is shown at high power view. There are vesicular nuclei which are marked with black lines, and prominent nucleoli which are marked with red lines, and mitosis is marked with red circle. Another photograph in which the microscopic features of medullary carcinoma are shown. There are tumor cells forming syncytial appearance which are surrounded by lymphoplasmacytic infiltrate. Then another photograph so that you can easily appreciate. There are multinucleated giant cells which are marked with red circle, and atypical mitoses which are marked with black circle on the photograph, and this photograph shows the high power view of the tumor. The tumors which show most but not all of the above criteria are recognized as variant of medullary carcinomas. Medullary carcinomas are negative for all biomarkers, so they are triple negative. An important viva question. The pure medullary carcinomas have a favorable outcome. However, variant types do not share this prognostic advantage. Immunohistochemistry, cytokeratin 6/5 positive, ER and PR negative in more than 90% of cases, HER2/neu negative, epithelial growth factor receptor, that is EGFR, frequently expressed. Invasive papillary, predominantly micropapillary carcinoma. Invasive papillary, which is predominantly micropapillary carcinoma. Invasive micropapillary carcinoma accounts for less than 1% of the invasive carcinoma. It is a rare breast tumor. The age distribution is similar to that of other mammary carcinomas. The patients are older than those with solitary intraductal papillomas. Most patients present with a palpable mass. There is higher likelihood of nipple discharge, which is often hemorrhagic, and nipple retraction. The rounded circumscribed mass with rare microcalcification are present on mammography. It is much more frequently seen as a minor component of invasive ductal carcinoma, not otherwise specified tumor. Gross appearances: it is usually a well circumscribed mass with pushing borders. It is a tan gray tumor which may be focally hemorrhagic. There are cystic spaces with obvious papilla formation. Microscopic features: these papillary lesions are composed of numerous complex papillary fronts which are proliferating into a distended duct lumen. These cell clusters lack true fibrovascular cores and show reverse polarity, that is, the apical surfaces of the cells are polarized to the outside. These papillae show absence of myoepithelial cell layer. In addition, recent studies failed to demonstrate myoepithelial cells at the periphery of the tumor nodules. The apocrine metaplasia is not a feature. The diagnosis of invasive papillary carcinoma should only be made with identification of unequivocal stromal invasion, that is, the tumor should not be clearly present beyond the capsule of the lesion. The importance of recognizing this variant of invasive carcinoma as well as mixed tumors with a papillary component is associated with high incidence of axillary lymph node metastasis. This tumor does not necessarily have a worse prognosis than invasive ductal carcinoma, not otherwise specified. Now this is the photograph showing microscopic features of intracystic papillary carcinoma. You can appreciate that papillary structures are present in the cyst and they are not infiltrating the surrounding stroma. Another photograph showing microscopic features of invasive papillary carcinoma, in which the papillary structures and glandular structures are infiltrating the surrounding stroma, which is marked with red circle. Another photograph showing microscopic features of invasive micropapillary carcinoma, showing retraction of spaces, and the groups of tumor cells appear to be floating within the clear spaces as they are well appreciated in the microscopic photograph and are marked. Another photograph showing microscopic features of micropapillary carcinoma, showing the retraction of spaces and the groups of tumor cells appear to be floating within the clear spaces. There is another photograph which shows microscopic features in which the tumor cells clusters are showing reversed polarity. Immunohistochemistry: SMA, calpain, S100 protein, smooth muscle myosin heavy chain, and P53 highlight focal or complete absence of myoepithelial cell layer, ER and PR positive, HER2 negative, high molecular weight cytokeratin, that is HMWCK 5/6 stains negative in neoplastic cells, CEA positive in 85% of papillary carcinoma and negative in benign papillary lesions. Metaplastic carcinomas. Metaplastic carcinomas are rare and comprise of less than 1% of breast carcinomas. This tumor present as a palpable breast mass. The rapid growth is commonly seen. The mammogram shows a well-defined tumor. Gross appearances: the tumor present as a distinct firm mass with circumscribed margins. The nodular and cystic areas can be seen. They include a heterogeneous group of tumors in which a portion of the malignant cells have undergone transformation into different cell types: non-glandular epithelium, that is squamous epithelium, or mesenchymal cells like chondroid, osseous, muscle, spindle cells types. These tumors are similar to invasive ductal carcinomas of non-special type with regard to clinical presentation, except that they are usually larger at the time of presentation. These tumors with squamous differentiation show a spectrum of differentiation from well to poorly differentiated. Low-grade adenocarcinoma, frequently associated with papillary and sclerosing lesions, is characterized by angulated glands embedded in a cellular stroma composed of cells with low-grade cytological atypia and focal squamous differentiation. This is in contrast to high-grade tumors that resemble adenosquamous carcinoma elsewhere. The low-grade adenocarcinomas rarely metastasize. Metastatic spindle cell carcinoma includes carcinoma with abundant spindle cell transformation. The spindle cell carcinoma can be histologically bland and show minimal cytological atypia, as in the so-called fibromatosis like spindle cell carcinoma. The diagnosis depends on wide sampling of the tumor to identify areas with clear glandular elements and the use of a panel of immunohistochemical markers. Metaplastic carcinomas with heterogeneous differentiation are most commonly composed of foci of chondroid or osseous differentiation. However, other types of mesenchymal differentiation, such as fibrosarcoma, rhabdomyosarcoma, and other sarcomas, can also be seen. Metastases from metaplastic carcinomas may consist of metaplastic elements, that is, adenocarcinoma or both. Focal metaplastic changes in other invasive tumor subtypes, that is, tubular, medullary, and lobular, may also be seen. Although the tumor has a relatively low rate of lymph node metastasis, when considering their large size at the time of diagnosis, metaplastic carcinomas have a high rate of lymphovascular invasion and a poor prognosis overall. Immunohistochemistry, cytokeratin, epithelial component positive, spindle cell component focally positive, EMA epithelial component positive and may be focally positive in mesenchymal areas. Vimentin positive in both epithelial and mesenchymal components. ER and PR negative, HER2/neu negative, P63 positive in spindle and sarcomatous component, epithelial growth factor receptor overexpressed and amplified. Now this tumor shows the microscopic appearances of metaplastic carcinoma, in which there is low-grade adenocarcinoma. Unequivocal squamous differentiation is seen associated with well-differentiated glandular structures and a cellular stroma. Another photograph showing microscopic features of metaplastic carcinoma, in which the spindle cell component is predominating. In this photograph, which is showing microscopic features of again metaplastic carcinoma, the spindle cell carcinoma with areas of squamous differentiation are highlighted. This photograph shows microscopic features of metaplastic carcinoma where extracellular chondroid matrix is highlighted. Inflammatory carcinoma. Inflammatory carcinoma is a clinico-pathological entity characterized by diffuse erythema, induration, and tenderness of breast skin associated with non-pitting edema, podorange involving one-third or more of the skin of breast. There is rapid enlargement of the breast. It represents about 1 to 5% of all breast cancers, and it is the most aggressive form. A breast mass may or may not be palpable. It may present with enlarged axillary lymph nodes. Gross appearances: the mammary skin is erythematous and thickened. It must be associated with invasive mammary carcinoma. Microscopic features: there is extensive dermal invasion by tumor emboli, which is believed to be the underlying mechanism for the clinical picture. It must have tumor present in dilated dermal lymphatics, lymphoplasmacytic infiltrate seen around involved lymphatic spaces, tumor emboli usually seen throughout the breast tissue. A tissue diagnosis is necessary to demonstrate invasive carcinoma in the underlying breast tissue. The presence of dermal lymphatic tumor emboli without the skin changes does not qualify as inflammatory carcinoma. Please note this very important point. This is the photograph showing gross appearances of inflammatory carcinoma. Note that there is erythema of the breast skin involving more than one-third of the breast. Another photograph showing gross appearances of breast with podorange, in which the skin of the breast resembles like covering of the orange and is caused by cutaneous lymphatic edema, which causes swelling, and this is due to the blockage of these lymphatics by tumor emboli. Now another photograph showing microscopic appearances of inflammatory carcinoma of the breast, in which dilated dermal lymphatics are containing tumor emboli. The dilated lymphatic vessels are marked with letter D showing empty spaces, and emboli are labeled on the photograph. You can appreciate lymphoplasmacytic infiltrate around these lymphatic vessels. Immunohistochemistry: ER and PR usually negative, usually positive for P53, HER2/neu usually positive, E-cadherin usually positive. Metastatic tumors of breast. The metastases to the breast are uncommon in both sexes but are much more common in women. The most common metastatic carcinoma of the female breast is metastatic tumor from the opposite breast. The other common metastatic tumors to the breast are malignant melanoma, carcinomas of the lung, ovary, stomach, cervix, kidney, and carcinoid tumors. Most common metastatic tumor in male breast is from prostate. Secondary lymphomas of the breast are rare. However, they are much more common than primary breast lymphomas, which comprise 0.38% to 0.7% of all non-Hodgkin lymphomas. The presentation may be similar to primary breast carcinoma, with a rapidly growing, painless, firm, palpable mass, usually lacking nipple discharge or skin changes. The bilateral tumors may be the initial clinical manifestations. Gross appearances: well-defined tumors are without calcification. Microscopic appearances: they are sharp, demarcated from the adjacent breast tissue. The infiltrating tumor with the presence of adjacent intraductal carcinoma or lobular carcinoma in situ is convincing evidence of a primary breast tumor. Elastosis is common in primary breast cancer but rare in metastatic tumors. The calcifications are more common in primary breast cancer but rare in metastatic tumors, except for metastatic serous papillary carcinoma of ovary or peritoneum. The cytoplasmic pigment intradermal inclusions, and spindle cell are useful clues to a diagnosis of a metastatic melanoma. The signet ring mucinous secreting cells are suggestive of gastric in origin. The clear cell changes and prominent delicate vascularization are suggestive of renal origin.